everybody, and thanks for joining us. My name is Caroline Healy. I'm the CEO of We Are Savvy, and welcome to our short and sharp webinar that is designed specifically for insurance people and insurance brokers. We're going to jump right in, but if you do have questions, please think about those. You can add them to the chat, and we'll talk to those at the end of our session today. We want to talk about understanding clients' expectations, demonstrating the value that you'll bring and being the real you as part of client expectations today. You will be hearing from me, as I mentioned. I'm the CEO at We Are Savvy, and whether I'm an expert or not in insurance marketing, I have worked in insurance marketing for 15 or so years now. So I've got a pretty good idea around what works and what doesn't when it comes to insurance and marketing and comms. We started We Are Savvy about 6 years ago with really that focus on marketing strategy and quality marketing. And as you can see, we're a small team of specialists, so you really just pay for what it is that you're after. We have many great insurance clients that we've worked with, and I also sort of learnt about insurance through my time at CGU and IAG. We're part of the Steadfast Preferred Supplier Panel, and we also have relationships with NIBA and ANZIIF, and we will be at the NIBA conference in October, sponsoring the Relax and Recharge Lounge. So if you're there, come and say hello. It would be great to see you in person. We wanted to kick off this webinar today with a quick poll. So Marco is going to launch the poll for you so that we can just hear about what are your primary expectations. So we're keen to know that what do you expect of this webinar? So hopefully you can see that poll up on your screen and you can submit your answer. Be great. We'll just give everybody another minute or so for that. And then, it's really important to understand sort of people's expectations, and that's why we wanted to ask that questions. You can put something, if there's something that's not on that list, you can pop your response into the chat as well. Marco, do you mind just sharing the results of the poll, please? So we've got a fairly even split there around what people want to expect. What's your primary expectations of this webinar today? Learn lots of new things. There's a couple of people, but one or two new things is there, and have a learning experience or be engaged or informed. So hopefully we can certainly support some of those things, but in half an hour, we might not get to lots of new things. We might just to get one or two new things. But we'll certainly see how we go, and we're wanting to share as much information as we possibly can in this 30 minutes. Oh, we skipped across too quickly. There we go. So the first thing that I wanted to share with you, and the first tip we want to talk about is, I suppose, just what we've done there by having that poll. What we wanted to do is, the first part is about in exceeding expectations, is about understanding your client's expectations. So we asked you, what is it that you expect? What do you want to get out of today? And this can help us to tailor the information that we share with you. Now, as brokers, you naturally delve into clients' needs when you're having those business conversations with them. And at the same time, we encourage you to ask about their expectations, because someone's needs and expectations are different things. So thinking about asking those questions around, what do you expect from us? What do you expect from the insurance cover that we're recommending? Where have others not met your expectations in the past? Why do you have these expectations, or what are you basing them on? And what really would exceed your expectations. So really asking your clients and potential clients about their expectations, that is going to help you to meet those expectations. The second part here is around that expectations go two ways. You have expectations and I have expectations. So it's also important that, we share and set expectations with our clients and with our audiences. So you, again, as a business owner or a broker, how do you share and set your expectations? For example, if you're wanting to we set some expectations with this webinar when we advertise it. We advertise this as a quick 30-minute webinar. So from the outset that you're not going to get a full marketing degree sitting in this 30 minutes, but more some bite-sized practical information. Now, you're certainly experts in delivering tailored insurance solutions. You're experts in proactive risk management. So I'm not going to focus on those things today, but I'm going to focus on how marketing and comms can help you exceed those expectations. So hopefully this is something new for you and not something that you already know. And again, by sharing that information, I've shared more about my expectations to prepare you for the rest of the session. So you've asked about the expectations. We did that poll for you. That's you telling me your expectations. I'm now sharing some more of my expectations back with you. Now, you do this all the time in broking land. You set expectations with clients when you tell them about, what they are covered for, what they are not covered for under a specific insurance policy. And being, really clear about what's in and out of policy coverage and so on is really important, because that's setting those expectations up front. And so when it comes to claims time, hopefully that makes some of those conversations easier for you. It's really important that one of the things about expectations is about being clear and making sure that there's no misalignment between the two parties. Because, often your expectations and my expectations, they're not going to line up 100%. So, for example, when you send a PDS policy to a client, many of you might expect that they're going to read it, which is a nice expectation. But I think most of us know in reality that clients aren't going to read a 20, 30-page technical document to see what's covered and what's not. They want something that takes them a minute of their time, and they're paying you and they want to engage with you because that's the service that you offer. This is why they come to you. So expecting that they're going to read a PDS might be part of your expectations, but their expectation is you're just going to tell them, and it's going to take 2 minutes. So you have to be clear about those two things and those two expectations so that they align. Making sure that your expectations align will help you communicate with clients, and they're going to help you to work better together, particularly in those times of stress. So our first tip really here is about talking about expectations, listening to clients about their expectations, sharing your expectations, and making sure there's alignment there. So now that we all sort of know that to meet expectations, you've got to hear about those two sides of the story. And we all know that you can meet your clients' expectations by just doing your job. Absolutely. By providing good advice, providing risk management advice, sourcing the right insurance cover, sending renewals, you can meet expectations. If you do this in a professional and friendly way, most clients will be happy. But will they be ecstatic? Will you have exceeded their expectations? Would they talk to you about talk about you with their friends or their colleagues? Would they refer to you with, maybe not. And because while you've covered the basics well and offered great value in that initial conversation, insurance is one of those products that it can fade over time. That value and seeing the value can fade over time because it's not tangible. And so many, people over time might not feel like there's the love or the incidental effort in the relationship. So, having regular contact really can help show value and help you exceed, expectations. So thinking like the little incidental effort could be things like sending text message for weather warnings or sharing insights via the newsletters. Or having an annual review, even for some of those smaller clients. Because, if we really think about post that initial conversation, if all a client receives is sort of maybe one phone call every year and they get a bill at renewal time, they get the renewal, which feels like a bill, the value that they see in insurance can decrease. So as an insurance broker selling that intangible product, it is really hard to continuously show value. But I think this is where marketing communications really helps to support insurance brokers to demonstrate their value and to then exceed expectations of clients. So first off, we would suggest that you communicate regularly via the channels your audiences use. So you don't have to be on every social channel. You don't have to send social channels, newsletters, and everything else. Have a look at who your audiences are and communicate with them on the channels, and it could be simple as sending those weather warnings. There's a hailstorm coming, so park under cover if you can, for example. Or sharing the insights via newsletter. So, if you are an expert in a particular area, potentially marine insurance, then, you're sharing insights around that marine sector, for example. So really doing these marketing and communications activities and having that consistent connection and contact with your clients and potential clients helps you stay front of mind. It helps you to demonstrate your expertise. And most importantly, it helps you to demonstrate your commitment to their business. So communicating regularly via the channels that your clients use is sort of that first step in regular contact. Secondly, we would recommend education. So everyone is busy. People, who are running businesses and working in, decision-making roles have little time for formal education to build their knowledge, and they, spend a lot of time reading and researching on the way to work, on the way home from work, on their phones, and so on, or listening to podcasts, whatever it might be. So, education and learning is really done through information sharing in small, easy to digest pieces of information in this day and age. So sharing data, insights, your experiences is how your audiences and your clients can learn more about insurance and their needs. And this is really, I suppose, key in helping to deliver some value. You're showing the value by sharing education and insights, things that you already know that they don't know. Lastly, we would say in terms of contact, making it real. So talking to your claim successes, telling stories. Storytelling is the powerful piece in communications, using quotes and testimonials. People get a sense of security from hearing about others' expectations, others' experiences. It provides reassurance, and it provides, validates their own situation and their own thoughts and decisions. Oh, that happened to them too. That's great. That's good experience. I want that experience. They're all positive. Yes, okay, I feel confident in making my decision there. So, having those personal stories, having the claim successes, having testimonials provides that validation, that we all, require at some points in our decision-making processes. So the final area in terms of exceeding expectations is about demonstrating the real you. And it's showing your personality or your brand when you work with people. This helps them to connect and engage back with you. You're all in relational businesses. So really it is about building those relationships and solidifying those relationships. And it helps clients to understand how you will approach working with them as well. And I think, again, if we go back to that first point about understanding a client's expectations and you setting expectations and sharing your expectations, your brand is part of this, and demonstrating that real personality is very much part of this. And so it doesn't really matter if you're the hardworking suits team and that's the persona that you share, or you're, the person who let's have coffee meetings and we do everything over a coffee and is a little less formal, or if you're the person who always celebrates and, okay, let's have, here's a celebration, here's a gift, or let's, have a drink or whatever that might be, or you're just the quiet achiever that sort of sits in the background. It doesn't really matter, I suppose, in terms of what that personality that you bring is and what that style that you bring is. It's about being authentic and consistent in your approach, and ensuring that you and your team, particularly we've got, teams and you've got other people in the organization, you've got to deliver that same level of service in that same manner, so that people feel like they have that consistent experience. So it's really important in exceeding customers' expectations, to think about what is your business's brand and what is your ethos to service. And as I said, is it that you surprise clients with little gifts when there's a celebration, or do you respond to, emails and phone calls at any time of the day and night? Do you provide, instead of 2 quotes, you provide 4 quotes? So you're providing more options than actually are required or requested. So these things, have to be authentic to your business and the way that you work as a team and as a group. And that brand has to flow through in all of the service elements that you deliver. I think here the authentic piece is easy, because we set up our businesses based on our personality styles and we grow them that way, and you can set up some structure around that. It's really the consistency of delivering service that can help, I suppose, impact whether you can exceed and meet clients' expectations. If you build a service model and present a brand that isn't consistent or is not sustainable in delivery, that's where you will not meet clients' expectations. Because obviously, they've got used to you working a certain way. And then when you stop doing that for whatever reason, there can be disappointment there. So, thinking about I'm responsive. I'm super responsive. I always respond to my emails within an hour. I always answer the phone. My clients can call me at 8 o'clock at night. It doesn't have to be about a claim. It can be about anything. If if this is the way you operate, then this becomes the expectation of your clients. And so what happens when you can't deliver those, or you don't deliver those because they're not sustainable? Good clients will give you a free pass, maybe once, maybe twice, but probably not a third time. If you set that expectation of service that you can't meet and you can't sustain, it's really hard to reset those expectations with your current clients. This really is something that catches businesses out when they're in a growth phase. You hear of business going, oh, we're growing by 25% and 35%, and it's great and wonderful. That's all wonderful. But if the service levels don't maintain, if you can't maintain that brand and that service level with your current clients, they will eventually get annoyed and move on. So I think, you've got to watch out for these service levels when it comes particularly to a growth phase, if you can't deliver that same level of service as you're growing. We do recommend that when it comes to your brand and your service and thinking about these things and setting these service standards, that you ask clients what they need. Yes, I want a 24-hour claims number, but actually I don't expect you to respond to my other emails, after 6 o'clock at night and, before 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever that might be. So asking clients again about their expectations so that you can set your service models around that, but then also having ongoing conversations with your team about your brand and your service, and are we delivering on these expectations? And if not, how do we reset those? Particularly in times of change where, as I say, there is growth or change in personnel, and all of those things. So to ensure that you've got that consistency and that sustainability. So in that last piece. So in summary here, we've really just talked about 3 points for you to consider and you think about in how you might want to exceed expectations. And that really is around, thinking about asking, listening, sharing, and setting expectations, understanding the 2 sides, the client's expectations and your expectations, and where is there alignment and where is there not alignment. So thinking about those things and how do you make sure that expectations are set and heard. showing your value through that regular contact, not calling clients or contacting clients once every 6 months, but making sure that you're front of mind on a regular basis and sharing some valuable information, whether that's, weather-related information or sector-related information, but those little bite-sized insights to show value. And the last piece is around that demonstrating the real you. Who are you as a business and a brand? And what are those service levels and expectations and service delivery that you provide?